Dante's Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? So welcome to the American Undisputed Dynasty in the sport of boxing. This weekend, the GOAT, Clarissa Shields, the three-time undisputed champion, she fights and defends her titles against Cornejo. But when it comes to this American Undisputed Boxing Dynasty, I want to talk about how we got here. As usual, old media's agenda, their plan has completely backfired and blown up in their face. Believe it or not, there was a time when old media, they didn't make a big fuss at all about someone becoming undisputed until Canelo Alvarez became undisputed at 168. When Canelo became undisputed, they used that as an excuse to replace Terence Crawford with Canelo Alvarez on their pound-for-pound list, on many of their lists. Now, of course, that was short-lived as always because of the old media curse. Once again, I tell you guys all the time, as soon as they overhype a fighter and put them at number one over a fighter like Terence Crawford that really is the best fighter in the world, the fighter that old media picks often loses shortly after that. Speaking of Terence Crawford, he became undisputed at 140, and when he was undisputed once again, old media treated Terence Crawford like he had just won another belt or became a unified champ. But when it came to Canelo Alvarez, when he became undisputed, old media treated it as if this was the new goalpost that you had to reach. So when other boxers seen the way they were praising Canelo Alvarez for becoming undisputed, like he was the first person to ever do it, that actually made all of the black boxers aspire to become undisputed. They said to themselves, oh, this is what we have to do to get the credit that we deserve. Now, of course, there were other fighters that became undisputed, like Usyk and Josh Taylor. And of course, when they became undisputed, old media threw them on their personal pound-for-pound list immediately, and really high on the pound-for-pound list. But for some odd reason, when Devin Haney became the youngest undisputed champion, and Jermell Charlo became the undisputed champion, there was a time when neither one of them was on ESPN's pound-for-pound list and the rest of old media's pound-for-pound list, despite the fact that both of them had beat better competition than Usyk had beat at cruiserweight, which was one of the weakest divisions in the sport. In old media, they had him ranked anywhere from number 1 to number 4 on the list. Well, you fast forward to present day, and now the majority of undisputed champions are American. And I don't have to say black American because everyone already knows that American boxing is dominated by black boxers. No different than if we were talking about the Olympics and someone said the sport of basketball is dominated by the Americans. We all know which Americans they're talking about. So old media, they continue to move the goalposts, and American boxers, they continue to destroy the goalposts because now we have the American Undisputed Boxing Dynasty. Almost all of the undisputed champions are American. Matter of fact, the only men's undisputed champion that's not American is a fighter that has actually just recently come off of a decisive loss, and that is Canelo Alvarez. He's the only undisputed champion to suffer a loss while being considered undisputed. I'm telling you guys right now, this is not what old media expected to happen about 2 years ago, because more American undisputed champions makes it harder for old media to justify not having more black American boxers on their pound-for-pound list. Like I told you guys before, when it came to the non-black boxers that became undisputed, they all were high on old media's pound-for-pound list. It didn't matter who they had to beat to become undisputed. So if we're going off of that criteria, then that once again means Jermell Charlo and Devin Haney should be on their list and very high on their list, on all of them, just once again based off of their own criteria. And now we have Terence Crawford versus Errol Spence this year, which means we will have another undisputed American champion. And if Terence Crawford wins this fight, that makes him a 2-division undisputed champion. This is not what old media expected. This is not what old media wanted. Old media, they were also trying to use that undisputed title for Canelo as a justification for him to avoid the toughest competition at 168. Because of course, Canelo didn't try to become undisputed at 160 where all the smoke was, Jermall Charlo and Demetrius Andrade. Canelo and old media, they felt if Canelo becomes undisputed at 168, then he really doesn't have to fight these tough opponents that people want him to fight. But by way of contrast, you have fighters like Errol Spence, Terrence Crawford, Devin Haney, Clarissa Shields, Alicia Baumgartner, and Jamel Charlo. They are constantly trying to challenge themselves. They want to go through the toughest challenges to become undisputed. And even once they become undisputed, like Devin Haney, they still want all of the smoke. And that is the mentality of a fighter who truly believes he's pound for pound the best fighter in the world. That's not just some fighter just telling people I'm the best, but doesn't want to show it or prove it. These American fighters, they all want to show it. They all want to prove it. And this is exactly what they continue to do. You see, old media, they tried to use Undisputed as a chess piece, just like they tried to use that franchise status, which was nothing but a WBC witness protection status that protected Lomachenko from Devin Haney 4 years ago when Devin was his mandatory, and protected Canelo Alvarez from Jamal Charlo when Jamal was his mandatory. But unfortunately for Lomachenko, he still ended up losing to the guy that he was trying to avoid 4 years ago. Loma's biggest dream of his career was to become undisputed, and he failed in an undisputed era that is dominated by the Americans, the American dynasty. Boy, there's going to be a lot of crying from the race fans after listening to this video, because I know what I just said, man, that cut like a knife. And the fans that will be crying the most are American fans. It's really amazing when you think about it, because it's the American fans, the non-black American fans, of course, they are more hurt than Ukrainians are right now. That wasn't a Ukrainian throwing drinks at Bill Haney when he left the ring. And it wasn't a white American. I think we all know which race it was. It was the same race that was throwing drinks at Broner when he left the ring after he had actually lost his fight to Maidana. And it wasn't an Argentinian fan. You guys know what race it was. There's only one race that you will ever see throwing drinks and bottles at black fighters at a boxing match in America. So you have many boxing fans, non-black fans of many different races, that were very, very hurt, more hurt than the Ukrainians were. And that's not even an exaggeration. They're extremely hurt because the American won. You guys will never see Canadian boxing fans mad because the Canadian won against a visiting country, regardless if the Canadian fighter is black or white. And that goes for the UK as well. You will never see Japan pissed off because the Japanese fighter won, and so on and so forth. Just think about that for a second. There's still fans in my comment section crying that the American won, using their same talking points that Loma won the fight, and there's no way the black guy could have won. I continue to ask all of them, and I encourage all of you guys, I'm gonna keep telling you guys this. Whenever someone is telling you that Lomachenko won this fight hands down, it was a robbery, this was corruption at its finest, all you have to ask them is, which rounds did you give Loma and how many? When you ask them that question, you force them to tell the truth. I've already asked about 20 or 30 people in my comment section on multiple videos this question, and almost none of them have shown 7 rounds that they believe Lomachenko won. They only talk about the 10th and the 11th round, which means they believe Lomachenko only won 2 rounds that could have not gone either way, or it wasn't Devin Haney's round. This proves, even though they know it's not a robbery, it just makes them feel better to say it because it's therapeutic. It helps them deal with the pain. Well, unfortunately for you race fans, you guys are going to be dealing with pain for a long, long time, because Americans are going to continue to win, and 95% of the time, they're going to continue to beat the foreigners that you root for. It's been that way since the inception, and it will always be that way. That's all I got for now, guys. I'm on to the next one. All right, now check this out, guys. If you're looking to repair eczema scars, burns and bruises, dark spots and blemishes, the fever blisters, diabetic ulcers, this right here is the perfect product for you guys. It's called LO Decay Face and Body Oil. Athletes and top-ranking boxers, they're also using it after training to reduce swelling, inflammation, and to ease the pain. So get yours today. Go to lodecay.com, like them on Facebook, and follow them on Instagram. Let me tell you guys about Issa Israel Law Firm. It is a full-service legal practice based in Denver, Colorado, an emerging hub for combat sports and high-altitude training. If you're a fighter inside or outside of the ring and you need a law firm you can trust to fight for you, visit thefighterfirm.com or email help@iilawfirm.com. Legal representation is usually limited to plaintiffs or defendants in Colorado, but iFirm can help anyone in the world with trademarking their business name, logos, and U.S. immigration issues. This brother has been my attorney for a while and helped guide me through all kinds of business and civil issues, so make sure you guys go to thefighterfirm.com.